Hey everyone, Ian King here with your weekly Winning Investor Daily. Joining me this week is an old friend and colleague. I'm excited to have a chance to talk to him. Is Mike Carr. He is basically the options expert at Banyan Hill. Mike, great to see you this week. How are things?
Great, Ian. How are you doing?
Doing well. I mean, surviving in this market. I'm sure, from a trader's perspective, you've been loving this volatility. What do you make of what we've seen just in the last couple of months with that big sell-off in June and the big rebound we're seeing right now?
I think it's a lot of Fed activity here. The Fed obviously created that bull market by creating an unprecedented amount of liquidity. And now they kind of back themselves into a corner. They can't continue to do that, but they can't just pull it back like they want it to. So I think what we're seeing is subtle changes in money supply driving the market up and down for now while the Fed figures out what to do next.
I mean, does the Fed ever know what to do next, Mike?
Yeah, I feel like they did. You're young. You may not remember Greenspan.
I'm not that young.
Yeah, Greenspan would have, after that last inflation report, Greenspan would have called an emergency meeting, raised rates a little bit, market would have shot higher.
Yeah.
Powell believes in forward guidance. I don't know. It's not working.
Well, I think it was something that during the financial crisis was like they wanted to be way more transparent, and part of the ruse of the central bank is keeping investors on their toes, right? As Volcker used to say. And Greenspan kind of carried it. But with Bernanke, then Yellen, it was like, you get what you see. Like they tell you what's going to happen and then they follow through with it. And that Powell has kind of continued that legacy as well. And, uncertainty, I think, for investors is a good thing because like you don't get too complacent and we don't wind up having the type of markets that we saw in 2021 when investors are complacent and the bust that sort of follow. But, I can imagine from your perspective, from a short and medium term trading, these are the kind of ideal markets that you're looking for.
We have really tightened up our time frame too on our TwoTrade service. A lot of the time we're in and out on the same day now. So it's gotten really short term because the moves are there. We used to need a week to see a triple digit gain, and now that's possible in a day.
Yeah. I mean, this has been a really difficult year for buy and hold long-term investors. But, if you have the time, if you have the right person sort of steering that direction, there is definitely money to be made in these short and medium term moves. Now, I know that when TwoTrade was first launched, it was a big deal at Banyan Hill. Everyone got behind it. Your track record was impeccable. I heard that you're adding a new version to this service. So is this going to be called TwoTrade now, Mike? I mean, what's going on with the new service?
It's still TwoTrade. I love that focus on one symbol. So we have really focused on SPY, the S&P 500 ETF. We're able to manage liquidity, get in and out quickly, and there's other stuff out there too that offers even more volatility. So
what would that be?
Well, I've done some back testing, and there are more volatile asset classes than stocks, believe it or not.
Oh, I believe it, Mike.
And they're not bonds.
Yeah.
One of the asset classes we tested just showed an incredible 43,000% back tested return. And
really?
I know that sounds too good to be true. So, we're sharing the rules with subscribers on that one so they can program it and see for themselves how that one works.
Oh, interesting. Okay. And so this would just be trading like some type of option contract on a more volatile asset than the SPYs?
Correct. We're just going for more volatility and we're just capturing those quick moves. And sometimes we're just going to stay in and capture long-term trends because some of the trends in some of these markets have just been thousands of dollars worth of gains.
Yeah. And that you bring up a good point because I feel like, there are some markets where, you're standing at the plate and you can swing for the fences. But this year has really been like, how do you get on base? How do you protect your base runners? How do you keep moving them along? So this is the kind of market where you're looking for singles and doubles, not necessarily swimming for the fences. And that's why I love, one trade and other shorter term strategies, because I think they're a really good complement to the other services that a lot of people are involved in, a lot of, whether it be Strategic Fortunes or Charles's service. I'm sure you agree with that as well. And would love to get in a little bit more of your philosophy behind this. Is there like a secret sauce or anything in particular that you've noticed in these markets, that you think really is what makes this work?
Yeah, I think there's, in academic terms, we believe markets are efficient, where the price is the right price. But that's not true in all markets. That's only true if there are really sound fundamentals. And in some markets lately, there's just no such thing as fundamentals. I mean, you look at some of those stocks that were in the bubble in 2020, there was no fundamental reason that Zoom should have shot so high. So, those kind of markets are great for technical systems. It's similar to, I don't know if you've ever read the book Market Wizards, where so many great fortunes were made in the 80s.
Sure. I think I've read all 4 or 5 of them.
Yeah. And a lot of those, they got their start in futures when futures were new, or the options market when options just started trading. Those are those times when you just have unusual opportunities. And we think we're seeing one just like that right now. And we're going to be sharing all the details on that July 27th.
Oh, that's really exciting. So July 27th, what time can people tune into that?
It's 8 p.m. Eastern. So
okay.
A little late in the day, everything's done. Watch this in your pajamas and you're all set.
And Mike, I go to bed at like 8 o'clock, so I might have to catch the replay the next day. But that sounds great, because most of these are around noon or 4 o'clock. Most of our your presentations around noon or 4 o'clock, but it's interesting you're doing it that late in the day. Maybe I'll stay up that night for you, Mike. So anyone watching, there's a link below me that you can click on, put your email in. You'll get updates to Mike's coming presentation where he's going to share the details behind this specific trade that he's located that has amounted to something like 43,000% gains as it was back tested. So that's really exciting. I think everyone should definitely sign up for that link, check it out. Mike is one of the smartest guys I know, with one of the more unconventional backgrounds. Came from the Department of Defense. You're tracking missile launches, correct, Mike?
Correct, yeah.
Okay, and then got into finance, so has really become a quantitative expert in the space. So please, check out Mike's presentation, July 27th, 8 p.m. Check the link below me. Any questions you have on what Mike and I discussed, or questions for him, tune into the presentation. I'm sure he's going to be answering them in the next week. I know whenever we announce these things, you get just a deluge of people writing in and asking questions. And I know if they click on that link and get their email on there, they'll be able to communicate with you and the team about this upcoming presentation. So pretty exciting things, Mike. Listen, great to have you on. Would love to see a little more of you, on our weekly updates. Hopefully we can connect again in the future after this presentation goes out. Anything else you want to tell our viewers, Mike, before we sign off?
That's it. Great seeing you too, Ian, and we'll catch up again soon.
Awesome. Thanks. And thanks for everybody for tuning in. This is Ian King for Winning Investor Daily. We will speak to you next week. Take care.